All right, here we are live on YouTube, I believe Periscope from Twitter, Facebook, a bunch of other places. I've never fully trust the little live icon, so I do always like to go and quickly check. Okay, so it seems to be working, so I can now trust that little live icon. All right, hi, my name is George. I'm the director of product at Draftbit. Usually, you guys are seeing Nick Selman during that time, who is our head of growth. Nick is off today, so it's just me. It's just me talking you through some super exciting new feature that we have recently released or about to release. Feel free to, I know there's like chat in YouTube, Facebook, and all that. So like say hi, introduce yourself. I do believe we have a good amount of like new viewers today. So let's see. I'm kind of familiarizing myself with Restream, so bear with me a little bit. But yeah, say hi, say where you're coming from, what's your kind of Draftbit experience so far, and if you have any questions throughout the office hour, let me know. We can pop them on the screen, and I can do my best to answer them. I might go back and forth to make sure I'm covering stuff in the chat, but that should be good. So yeah, as I mentioned, because we got a ton to cover, so I'm going to go pretty fast, but I do want to take 1 minute to give people a little bit of context, because as I mentioned, we might have a few new viewers today. So Draftbit, this is a weekly office hour for Draftbit. Draftbit is a no-code mobile app builder. So you can make an app, iOS, Android app, without having to know the code. One is we're small team, but produce a lot of improvement every weeks, and so that's why we do those weekly office hour to show what we've been doing and what you can now use in Draftbit. So that's pretty enough for the intro. As usual, every week, I'll show it to you on the screen. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started. Here we go. Every week, our amazing coworker, Aman, is sharing what's new in Draftbit. So by the way, as you're seeing here is the community side. One of the big exciting thing about Draftbit is that we have a very vibrant community. They help each other, they answer each other the question. We also, as a team, commit to answering every question that go through in a timely manner. So the community is a big deal for us. And one thing we do every week is share all the news. And so this is what the post look like. So I'm just going to briefly go over it, and then we're going to talk about the agenda for today. So if you've missed last week office hour, it was actually kind of a panel, and it was amazing. The subject was the future of no code is code. It's a little bit provocative, but it was very interesting. A lot of opinions about how much you should rely on no code tools, where you might or might not have access to the stack that's underneath them. So Amy from MakerPad and Sarkis from Restep.io have a lot of opinions about that, and it was a very good discussion. So we hope you get a chance to see that. Now there's a recording on YouTube in our YouTube channel, so have a look. Then moving on, I'll cover the Firebase integration. The TLDR there is that we've made a lot of work on Firebase over the last month now, and we were doing it under like a pilot with just a few members of the community to try to iterate on it, improve it, and now we've to a point that it's truly like a good MVP for a Firebase integration. So we have released it to the whole community, so everybody can now use it. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to demo that. That's the first thing I'm going to demo, and then we're going to also cover a new transformation that we have and a commit to GitHub. So actually, let me briefly talk about the, oops, sorry, I'm juggling with the screen here. We're gonna briefly talk about the agenda. So for today, we're gonna cover a few things. The first one is gonna be Firebase integration. that's the first stop. I'm going to show you how to use. We have new components in Firebase, how to like connect to it and use that. We're going to talk about the new navigation parameters. So when you go from one screen to the other, we've improved the way we do that, which lets you have like default value. I'll go into details. We'll have a brief look at a GitHub integration. So you can now, within Draftbit, commit to GitHub, to a GitHub repository in one simple click. It's done, but it's under a pilot. So it's kind of similarly to what we did with Firebase. We're testing it with a few members of our community. So if you're interested, first of all, I'll show it to you. And if you're interested, reach out. I'll tell you how. But that's coming up. And then I'll show you also a very early sneak peek of push notifications within a Draftbit ad. That's a huge deal. We were just able to get that working. We're still working on it from a product point of view, so this is not quite available to all, but I'll give you a little taste of it. And the last but not least, the big feature or the big announcement I want to make is that we've now have a way in Draftbit to do authentication, so logging, sign up, sign out, error handling, all of that entirely in no code. So you don't have to write one line of code, and you can connect to your Xano, Superbase, or any kind of authentication backend like that. So I'm actually going to try to demo that in front of you. We've got a lot to do, so I'm going to hurry now. Okay, so I'm still gonna have a last quick check. Let me know if you guys are in the chat or anything like that, if you can hear me well, or if you have any issues. I don't want that to prevent you from having a good time with me today. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna start with Firebase integration. So I'm in Draftbit. I'm gonna call it pumpkin beer, guys. I went to a store yesterday and I saw pumpkin beers, and I thought it is way too early for pumpkin beers. It is August. It's not fair, but it is what it is. It's almost Halloween now. All right, so that's the name of my app. I'm gonna go to Firebase. I'm going to go pretty quickly on the Firebase side because we've made a lot of pumpkin beer, a lot of video tutorial about how to connect to Firebase, get information, send information, delete, edit. All of that is covered. I did a five-part video tutorial about that. So if you're curious, you have any question, look at those videos and reach out to the community website. We have plenty of material to help you out. We also have a great docs.draftbit.com website for those who are not familiar with it, and you can see we have docs about Firebase and documents everything. It's very thorough guide that Aman, our team member, made. So have a look at that. Okay, and now my app is ready to go. It is. So what you need to do in Draftbit is, in data, I'm gonna add a Firebase connection. And now I need my configuration. So where do I get my configuration? In project settings, service account. Oh, sorry. Project settings. You need, every time you do something in Firebase, you kind of have to have the concept of an app that connects to it. So that's why it feels a little bit redundant, but makes sense. So anyway, again, I'm going super fast here, but we have you covered if you want more information. So here I'm getting my config. That's it. I'm going to paste it here. I'm also going to get the service account file. Create service account file. It's going to save it on my disk. Yes. All right. Now I can upload it from here. Oh wait, did not. Again, here we go. All right, now I've uploaded here. Oh, what I'm going to do is, before I do all that, I forgot, I'm actually going to have to enable the Firebase, the Firestore database. I'm going to put it in test mode. The local location is fine. And the example we're going to do today is simple, like the equivalent of a blog. So we've got a bunch of posts written by a bunch of authors, and that's essentially it. So, while it's loading, I can tell you a little bit more. So we're going to have post. Now, in a post, what do we need? We need a title. This is my first post, okay, and then I'm gonna create another one. I'm using the auto ID, so I don't have to think about it. This is my second post, okay. Now I also need an author and a field. I'm still gonna use the auto ID, and the author is gonna have a name. This one is gonna be me. Maybe we'll do two author. My friend Nick, who is not here today, but he deserved. He deserved to be an author here. Okay, so everything looks good. Nick, okay, and maybe I'll add like a one last post from. This is. So this one is going to say it's another post. Another first post, because I'm going to write it from the point of view of Nick. So when I do author now, as part of the post, I can use, that's a new thing, I can now use the reference for that specific author. So I need to get it. So that's this thing is the reference for Nick. So here when I do author, here we go, I can pass it a reference. And I'm gonna just do author / this. Okay, so now it's a reference. And I want to do the same thing for my post. So I'm gonna copy this, go here. I have another author field, and it's a reference to author. It's working well. Author. Right, so it should be good. I've now all my author, reference, the right title, the right thing. Okay, so now I can go back here. Yeah, I'm gonna try again. Let me try again because I didn't have the first thing when I set that up originally. So now projects. Oh, let's see. Okay, so now I see I have an author collection with just a name, and then a post collection with a title and author reference. All right, here we go. So I'm going to close this for now. We don't need this. Essentially, that's it. Like we've done with the Firebase side of things. We now have a database. We've connected it all. So now I'm going to start by listing all the posts, and you'll see some of the new thing we have. Look at those two components. We can now quick thing. Sorry, guys, give me 1 sec. I'm just checking a little thing on my hand. Okay, so two components: collection. So and document. Document is a component to get a specific document that you know the ID of, and Firebase collection is to get an entire collection that you can iterate through. So I'm going to start with just a collection, and I'm going to tell it I want my post collection. I'm going to show all my posts. So I'm going to even rename it post, and then I'm going to put a list in it to iterate. So each of those are going to be a single post, and in my list I'm going to show the title. So now, I should tell the list to iterate through that collection. Okay, and now I can just say title. And that's the one. Okay, and here you go. This is my first post. This is my second post. This is another first post. That's awesome. I'm going to do a little styling just so we put a little bit of margin at the bottom so we can tell which one is which. I'm also going to put a little bit of padding around the screen so you see it better. Okay, so those are my 3 posts. Does that make sense so far? Yeah, no question. Everybody's okay. Okay. So Okay, so this is great, but what if I want to now get the author of a post? For that, I can now use, because I have the author ID, sorry, the author reference. So like here I could say like author reference, but it's going to be a weird name that doesn't mean anything. So instead, I'm going to actually use that new Firebase document. I'm going to say in the author, just use the author reference that I have in my post. And then here now I have this author essentially, and I can just display its name. Look at this. Okay, here it is, ID name. And that's going to be me. Here we go. Ta-da! So that works. So this is the title. This is the author name. Look at that tree. Now everything kind of makes sense. I'm going to do, I got to hurry up because we have so much to cover, guys. I'm going to do it all. Okay. One thing I'm going to do is now, what if I want to get to that author page? So instead of having just a text, I want it to be a link. So I'm going to underline it. Okay, so we know what it is. And I can say, I'm going to show the same thing. It's now a link, which means I can add an action to it. So I'm going to remove this one for now. Delete my name link. Okay, so where do I want that to go? I want that to go to an author screen. Okay, the author screen, all it's going to do, let me make it a little, we're going to purify it. Here we go. Here, all I wanted to do is, so I'm going to, well, let me show the action first, and we'll see what we do on the second screen. So here in my link, I can go to the interaction tab, and on tap, when someone tap on it, I want to navigate to that author screen that I just created. And now you already see, like, those are the new navigation parameters that I was talking about. So you can say, I want to pass it the author. Yeah, there we go. Simple as that. And I'm going to pass it the reference to the author. So now when I'm here, and if I look at the screen level, look, it shows up here. So now the navigation parameters are all accessible at the screen level. You know everything that's coming in and everything that's coming out. So like this should make it very clear. An added benefit of it is that you can now have a test value. So previously, when I was trying to test this screen, if I do like, so I know I'm getting the author back, and if I wanted to display it on the page, I can refetch it, author, and I wanted to say, I want to get the specific ID with a specific reference. But when I'm in preview mode, as you can see now, I'm not navigating through it. I'm just looking at the screen, so it doesn't know what to do. So what I need to do is here, I can give it a test value, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use my test value here. And now I can actually start working on my screen with that test value. But when when the real user uses the app, it will get the navigation value. So it's just a way for you so you can design and move forward. Okay, so now I've got my author. All I'm going to do is show its name, and that should be straightforward. Here we go. And by the way, so now I can, if I want it, I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need it. If I wanted to change my default value, I want to see what it would look like if the user navigated from to a different author, I can change it here, and it will change automatically. And now I'm kind of designing my author screen based on Nick. So that's essentially it. That's your new navigation parameters. On the first screen again, you will see them here as you used to in navigation param. And now on the receiving screen, you will see them in data. And I can add some here. I can say foo, that's going to be 42. And then every navigate action that goes to that screen now it's going to explicitly show me what it's expecting. It's expecting a foo value and author value. So it gives a lot more clarity around the like interface around each screen, like what's coming in and what's coming out. Okay, I want to show, there's so much stuff I want to show. I'll do one more thing. Now I'm looking at the Nick author screen. What if I want to find all the posts just from Nick? That's what we can do now. So I'm going to get an entire collection of posts, and I'm going to say I want the author that I'm using the where clause that we did not use before. I'm going to say the author, I want it to be, and you see you have a bunch of options here, but I want it to be the author I'm getting from the navigation. So that's it. Now I'm going to iterate through them. So those would be kind of the author's post. That's one specific post. I'm going to iterate through that collection, and I'm going to display the title. And if I did everything right, I should only see one, because Nick, if you remember, only has one post. So here it is. Here it is, really? Let's see, what did I go wrong? Okay, let's try again. So I'm getting the author from navigation parameter. That's all my posts, where the author is equal that author. I'm iterating through my collection, and I'm displaying the, not the author, but the title. I'm surprised this is not working. But let's see. We'll debug together. That's the beauty of it. Okay. What if I preview the whole thing, including the link? Okay. So now those are my 3 posts, and I want to see. Yeah, I can see. Oh, well, it works here. So see, I didn't even. I passed it through the George link. So now we're not using the default value, we're using the real value the user is sending, and then I'm iterating through all my posts specifically for me. If I'm looking at from Nick, I'm looking at all Nick's posts. So that's working great. Here we go. I'm going to be honest, I'm not exactly sure why we're not seeing it in edit mode. So I'm going to look into that right after this call. I might be doing something stupid, but anyway, what you could do after that, I might have to stop here because I want to save time for the other stuff, and maybe we'll come back to that later if I have time. But like, what you might want to do is now that's all the posts, that's an author, and I can see all the posts for that author, and maybe I want to make that link so I can see the specific post screen. Anyway, we'll get back to it at the end if you have time, but I wanted to essentially show you Firebase integration, which is those 2 great new components, Firebase Connection, Firebase component, the new kind of navigation parameter that makes it easier to like add default test value. And then just to finish on that example, I'm going to do one last thing. Okay, this is going to be cool. Here, look at this, guys. Look at this new little thing here, Github Settings. All right, Github Settings. I'm going to go to my GitHub. Obviously, you can see me coming. I'm going to demo to you the Github integration. So I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to call it Pumpkin Beer. Okay. I'll do it. It's available. I'm going to keep it private. Create the repo. Okay. And now here's my repository. So now I go back to Draftbit and I can say, all right, this is the repo URL I want to push commits to. The branch is the main branch. That's kind of the default one in Draftbit. And now you do need one. That's the one piece of information you need to provide us is your GitHub token. And where we even put a link for you that is pre-populated with everything you'll need. So we make it super easy. So pumpkin beer, and that's for Draftbit. This is how I keep track of things. And look, we have already checked all the repo permissions for you, a scope. I'm going to generate that token, copy it, And then that's what we use for Draftbit. I'm going to save that. Okay, you ready for it? I'm going to go to the commit tab, and I'm going to say, what does it usually call it? My first commit or first commit? I think that's a typical thing in GitHub. Okay, commit and push. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Code committed and pushed to GitHub. So now, look at this. I have my whole React Native app available in a GitHub repo that I just created about 30 seconds ago. We put literally everything in there. There is no hidden secret stuff that you don't have access to. You see all your screen, the screen we just made. You see what else we got? The themes, your app.js, your app JSON, everything you need. We have a README that tells you how to install Node, install the export command line, and how to do everything to then take that piece of code and turn it into an app. And we've actually made a lot of progress on for that kind of last mile. So we're gonna talk about that another time. It will be too much for today, but for now, just realize that we now have a way for you to export, not only just export code as we had before, but now you can commit to a GitHub repo. Now, this functionality is kind of a pilot right now. It's if you are a professional member of Draftbit, if you have a pro account, you can reach out, go to community, the community website, and you'll see that in the you can maybe even just search for GitHub, but here it is, like sneak peek, commit to GitHub. Can I post that in the chat? I guess I can. Here we go. Let's see if that works. All right, so go to that link, and then with that link, you know, just at the bottom, just tell us that you want it, what you want to do with it. Just, you know, provide a tiny bit of information, and then we will be happy to turn it on for you, because that way you can help us test it. You can really push it to its limit, and we're very excited to see what you guys will do with it. I've been using it now for a few weeks, and I do like typically like two branch. I've got my kind of developer branch and my like Draftbit branch. So I don't call it main, I call it Draftbit in my personal use case. And then I keep pushing stuff on Draftbit, and then every now and then I kind of merge to my main branch, and then I use my main branch to kind of build and publish with Expose. Anyway, the whole flow that, like I said, we'll talk about it later, but this is amazing. This is a first step towards being able to really integrate with the workflow that most people, most teams are using. And that, I'll stop there, but like I want to emphasize that this is also a very, it's a very emblematic feature for Draftbit, in the sense of like this is what we're all about. Like we're not just the fastest way to, as quickly and as cheaply as you can, just like push an app. We want to do it the right way. We want to export to be able to produce and generate code that is correct. We want to approach features like an engineer will approach them, and integrate into the current workflow of teams. So that's, you know, that's also why we integrate with mini backend. Yeah, and we hope that this is kind of one step towards a much bigger integration with GitHub, and we're excited to see what you're going to do with it. So let us know. As you can tell, I'm getting a little excited with it. It's a cool feature. Our team worked hard on it, and I've been enjoying it myself. So that's it for Firebase components, the navigation parameter, and the GitHub commit. Whew. Okay. That was a lot to cover. Now, next up, completely different topic. We're going to do we're going to do completely no-code auth. You've seen previous episodes or previous office hours, we've done something very close to that. We did a very like low-code auth. We only had like a couple of lines of JavaScript here and there. Now we're at the point where you can do an entire authentication flow, sign up, sign in, log in, log out, handling errors and things like that completely with no code. And I'll demonstrate that to you right now. For that, we're going to say bye-bye to Firebase right now. We're going to move to Xano. That's what we're going to use for our backend. Like I was kind of saying, like the beauty of Draftbit is that you can integrate with many backends. So Firebase, Xano, Superbase, backendless, all those kind of like Airtable, obviously, like all those kind of guy. Because again, that's kind of how an engineer would approach things, right? You got your separation of concern. Like here's all my backend, and those tools I just mentioned do fantastic things. So we're very happy to be able to like build stuff where we use them as opposed to trying to like redo what they do well ourselves. So here's a good example of that is Xano. Xano, we've been enjoying using it a lot. So today we're going to do a little no-code auth with Xano. So it is. All right, and we're going to do it from scratch. So I'm not lying, guys. Intermediate, what front end we use? Draftbit. This is just the onboarding kind of from Xano, so you don't have to worry too much about that. We're gonna call it what are we gonna call it? No code auth. Okay, start from scratch. Now we're gonna say Xano does a great job here. We need a user or users table, okay? And it's already created an API for us, so that's awesome. We're gonna skip that. And we do need authentication with email. We can do it with other services, Google, Facebook, and all that, but we're going to keep it simple and do it with email, okay? So now it's setting it up. While it does that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I started to create a no-code auth application where we're going to do a sign-up screen. Oh, look at that, uppercase I. That should be a lowercase I. Okay. Now I'm going to do... Let's see how much time we have. We got what? Less than 30 minutes? Yeah. Oop, yeah, I made a typo. Okay. Input. All right. So name, email, password, and then submit. What does that sound? Name, email, password, submit. That's my sign up screen right there. In Draftbit, you can make it a little bit better. You can give like a nice placeholder. I'm going to call it sign up email. Give it a name so we can reference it later on when we do actions. This is sign up email. And I'm going to placeholder it. Oh, I keep making. Okay, sign up email. This one is going to be sign up password. Okay. And the placeholder is password. Okay. And this one is submit. And here we go. So that's my sign up screen. By now, okay, no code, the Xano side is done. It created that user table for me. It also created a kind of my first table, which is great. If you want to get started, you can see the different type you have access to. This is me being a little OCD, but I don't love, because I'm very familiar with Xano now, I don't love having stuff I don't need, so I tend to like remove the default one. But it's kind of cool that they added, particularly for new users. So I'm going to remove all the things that we're not using that were kind of here to help us. And so we have one database for user, name, email, password, and look at that. They already created all those CRUD endpoints for us. And the one we're going to use today is login, auth me, and sign up. Actually, we might just use sign up and login. So this is my sign up screen. I'm going to connect to Xano. So see earlier I did like I did Firebase. Now I'm going to do REST API, and I'm going to connect to Xano. Now Xano provides you with that URL. So that's what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to create a couple of endpoints. The first one is sign up, which is a post. And I can see it here. That's the one. Now, this is the body of the post. Okay. So, oh, wait. First, auth sign up. I got to give it the path. Okay. Now, that's the body. And I obviously need to replace those value with the right value. So let me just turn those into a variable, essentially, that I can, first of all, test. I'm going to do test one. This is going to be test at draftbit.com, test 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, could it be that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Let's see if that's what's going on. Maybe my password was not long enough. Okay, now it works. My password was a little short. So which one did I use by the way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sweet. So when everything works, you get, and I can see it in my database here. That's my test. My test user I just created, and the response is a JSON object with a key auth token. And that's important because what we're going to do in Draftbit is retrieve that response, pass it into JSON, extract that auth token key, and save that key in a variable so we can use it later on to do authenticated requests. So it's kind of important that we remember the format of the response. Okay, am I making sense, by the way? If you have any questions, so far I don't see anybody blocked, so I'm assuming things are okay. But let me know otherwise. Okay, so that's done for this one. While I'm here, you know what? I might just do the login as well. Same price. Okay, auth login. Oop. Auth login. Now what? I'm going to test it so I can see what's the expected body. That's, I should make it a post. Okay, so for logging, all we don't need the name anymore because you're not creating a user. All you need is email and password. Okay, and so what if I do test at draftbit.com, the one I just created, and the password is test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's see if that works. It worked. Okay, 200, okay, and here's my auth token, so I was able to log in. So now I have those two. That's pretty what I need for now. Okay, so here's my sign up screen. It's all set up, and that's when it becomes interesting. So I'm going to do an API request to the Xano service, and specifically to the sign up endpoint. Okay, I'm going to pass it the password. I'm going to pass it the email. Oh no, what happened to my name? Did I forgot to name it correctly? Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. I called it sign up email instead of sign up name, so it got lost. Okay, now that's fixed. Let's see. Password, email, name. Okay, so that's awesome. And now I do this, and when it's done, I navigate. I only have one screen right now, so I'm going to create a screen called log in. My login screen. Okay, so now in my submit, I can navigate to. Oh, did not take my screen into account. Let's find out. Navigate to. Here we go. To logged in. I'm not going to pass in anything for now. I just want to test this. See, can I create a new user? We're going to do iteratively. Okay, so test 2 at draftbit.com. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, and that's it. It went to the login, and I'm going to bet that a test2 user has been created. Awesome. Okay, that's great. Now we're missing a few things. Well, first of all, you know what? I'm going to do. Should I do the login as well? Yeah. Let me do a login screen, and then we'll get fancier. So this, I'm going to do a login screen, and it's going to be very similar to the sign up because now we know how to create a user. Padding. I want input. I want just the email and password. This is a login and not a create user. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to call this one log in email, and the placeholder is going to be email. Create this one, login password, and the placeholder is going to be password. Okay, and look, I can even make it a password input, so get the little stars. Okay, this is going to be sign up email. I'm just naming my component well, so I like to do that. I don't get lost that way. Okay, submit. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a fairly similar thing where I'm gonna do an API request. This time still to the Xano endpoint, but this time to the logging post. I'm gonna pass it the login password and the logging email. And when everything goes well, we're gonna navigate to a logged in screen. All right, so let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. So which one do you have? I have test 2, right? I just created that. So test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, logged in. So I can now do login. And now we're gonna start to do a few interesting things, because when you're logged in, I want to be able to do authenticated requests. And for that, I need an auth token, right? So if you remember, like if I wanted to do anything that require authentication, I need to pass it the auth token, right? And so I'll illustrate that a little bit. So right now, see, I can even test the endpoint in Xano, which is convenient. So I want to show you what I mean by you need the auth token. Oh, no, what did I do? Did I type it wrong? Test, Draftbit. Oh, I'm missing a 6. Silly me. Okay, so that's my auth token. And some endpoint in Xano are going to require an authentication. This is an example. See, auth me require you to authenticate your user. So I need to pass it the auth token for it to work. And then it tells me a little bit about myself. But in Draftbit, I need to have access to that auth token. I need to save it somewhere, right? Quick note from Xano on password. We default to a minimum of 8 characters with at least 1 lowercase and 1 uppercase, but it is fully customizable on the password field in the database. So that's great to know. Xano is doing the right kind of thing by default, but you have the ability to change that yourself if you want to for any reason. Okay, great. Thank you for that, guys. Where was I? Okay, so I need to save that. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it Xano authorization header. All right, and that's it. Authorization header. And now when I'm on my logging screen, now this is where it gets interesting. So I've done my request. I'm getting a logging response object. Okay, and look what I'm going to do with it. First, I'm going to pass it into JSON, because right now it's like a fetch JavaScript object. So I'm going to use the response. I'm going to pass it into JSON, and now I'm getting a logging response JSON. Okay, that's step 1. I'm going to move it right above the navigate. You kind of want to navigate at the very end, right? You don't want to navigate and then have to do a bunch of actions. So navigate always going to be at the end, so you'll see me push actions up from there. So I've passed it. Now I want to extract a key. That's also something we showed last time, but it's a fairly new action that lets you take a JSON object. There's a little bit of documentation here if you understand, and you can give it like a path to a specific key. So now I'm going to access the auth token, and I'm going to save that into Xano auth token variable. That's awesome. Here, and the very last step is I want to now save that global variable to save that variable to that global variable that I created a second ago. I'm going to pass it this thing. Okay. I'm going to move it up. And now in my logged in screen, I'm going to put a little text just to show you what the token look like, because if everything works well, when we're here, the token should have been saved. So we should see it. Okay, let's give that a try. Okay, test to Draftbit draftbit.com, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, submit. Here we go. I was redirected to my login screen, and that auth token is now saved, and I can use it for further requests. It's in my app variable, so it's accessible everywhere. So this essentially shows you how to do the happy path, which is great. I do now want to make it all fancier and show you, first of all, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a logout so we have a better demo. So once I'm on the login screen, I'm going to make it just regular line. Okay, I'm going to create this logout. Essentially, the only thing that does is set that global variable to nothing. All right, just erase that auth token, lose it, and then navigate to the login screen. Okay, so now if I do login, there was a little creak there. I hope I didn't make any typo, but we'll find soon enough. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now here it is, and I can log out, and log out brings me to login. Awesome, that works. Okay, now two things I want to mention. The first one is I did say you can then use that auth token for an authenticated request. Well, typically when you do an authenticated request, yeah, we'll show it. I was debating if I should actually demo it, but we will. Let's do this one. Let's get information about myself as an authenticated user. That way we'll demonstrate the whole thing. So it's auth me. I'm going to create that endpoint because I don't have it right now. So it's going to be the me endpoint. It's a, what is it, a get? It's a get auth me. But what it takes is a authorization header, and I'm going to use that variable that I've saved. Okay. Oh, what I might have to do is, give me one sec. In order to test it, I kind of need one sec. Oof. I'm going to give it a default value just so I can test it. But then when you release your app, obviously you'll get rid of that. But that way I can test my endpoint. Do it again. Me. I want to say me every time. Okay. Auth me header. Oh, a new header. Sorry. Authorization. Oof. It is test. Now, yeah, here it is. I'm getting an error because that's kind of one thing I wanted to demonstrate. Typically, the authorization header, I didn't mean to remove that, but it's okay. Authorization header. Typically, it looks like this, bearer, if you want to at least use like a bearer prefix, and then the token. And that's kind of important because I'll show you how you do that without writing any code in Draftbit. So sorry about that. I should have done that earlier, but like for the third time, here's me creating a auth me endpoint, and I'm giving it the authorization, this thing, and now hopefully, yeah, now it works. I'm getting all information about my user. So we have that endpoint. It is, and now in my logged in, what I can do is a fetch component. I'm going to say I use ano, use the me. Yeah, that's what I need. Yeah, okay. And then here, I can show, what am I going to show? What, the name. Yeah, just going to show the name. Actually, I'm going to click name. That'd be even clearer. Okay, I'm going to show the name. I'm going to still have my logout link. And I guess I don't need that. What was it? Oh, the token. You know what? Let's still show it. Ooh. Look, I'm going to rename them, so hopefully it's a little Okay, all right. So token, just to debug a little bit. Oh, I gotta put it back because I removed it. Me to the me endpoint, show the name. Oh, yeah, I typed too quickly a little bit. S2 and then my logout. So that's perfect. Gonna go back to login. Just make sure that this was not erased. Okay. Okay, so let me try again. Let's see what it looks like now. Login, test2 at draftbit.com, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here it is. It's my token. Now, you see that I'm not getting that name that I did before. And the reason, I'll show it to you. I can log out here. But the reason is in my login, when I saved it, it just stayed a token, not the like bearer and then the token. And for that, we have this little add bearer prefix transformation. So now it'll be saved properly in the variable and it should work better. Let's give that a try. Six, I think it's test 2, right? Okay, and now that's it. Now not only you can see it, there's a bear in my token, and then I get the name. So this is essentially the result of an authenticated request. All right, so that works great. We've been able to create a user to log in. Now the last thing I want to cover, I only have 5 minutes left, but the last thing I want to cover is error handling. So this is huge. What if the user make a mistake? This is kind of the last piece to feel like we're fulfilling our promise of doing no-code auth with a third-party provider. So I'm going to show you how to handle error. So here in my submit, I'm extracting the keys, the auth, but what if there is no keys? What if in Xano, when I try to log in and I make a mistake, it's not gonna work. If I do something like that, it's gonna tell me, no, wrong. You can't do that. So what I do want to do, oops, sorry, a bit here. What I want to do is a conditional stop. So I want to stop if the Xano auth token is not present. Make sense? So if it's not present, you just stop the execution. We're done. No need to save it. No need to go to the next page. And I want to show the error. So I'm going to create a error message. And then I do, so maybe there are some Xano folks on the live stream right now. They can either help me out or tell me another time. But I haven't figured out a great way to get to what the response format is when I make a mistake. You know what I mean? So I know what it works well. For example, this one, I think that's the right one. So when did I make a typo here? I thought I did pretty good here. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so when it works well, I know what it looks like. Copy result as JSON, I understand the format. When it doesn't, when I make a typo, it tells me it's wrong, but I don't know exactly how to get to the response. Now, so I've done that kind of on my end in Insomnia, in the REST an API client. So I know what the result looked like, and I can share it here. This, let me create, I'll show you on the screen. This is what the format looks like. So there's this message that I want. So I want to extract the key message and display that on the screen. Okay? So you just have to remember that. But let's go back. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So conditional display, But before I do that, what if I try to extract from the JSON message? I'm double checking myself. Okay, so I want to extract message, and I'm going to create an error message, right? So obviously I want to do it before we conditionally stop, and then I want to save that into that error messages that I have. Error message. It is okay. Above the conditional display. Okay, send a message. So now I can show my error on the page, and I'll make it red. That will be easier. Error. Okay. Example error message. Okay, so it's empty when I haven't done anything. Now I'm going to preemptively do one thing is I'm gonna erase that error message at the beginning of my chain because I don't want it to like remember that state. So I'll do one little thing, which is set the global variable of the error to nothing below. You don't have to do it, but I kind of like to do it. That's with all cleaner. So right before I do anything else, I'm just erasing that value. Okay. So now I make the call, I pass the JSON, I extract the auth token, I extract the message. If there's a message, I save it into the error message. If there is no token, I stop right here and we're done. If there is a token, I save it and I move on. Okay, whew. Look at that function stack. Nice precept rule for password. Yes, Art, right. Zano does a good job at that. Okay, test 2. I'm going to make sure it works, and then I'm going to try an error. 5. Okay, that works. Perfect. I got my authenticated request. Log out. What if I do now test 6? There you go. Everything stopped because I did not get the auth token. So let me show you again. So that conditional stop worked. My error message that I received from Xano was saved in my global variable and displayed on the page. And that's it. That's, my friend, is how you do no-code auth. If you've noticed, I haven't written one line of code. My kind of custom code is completely empty. There's nothing in my function here. So we can handle errors, we can create a user, log in, log out, and do authenticated requests. We're super excited. If you can't tell, we're very excited because for us, it's a big milestone. It's been a big kind of promise to our user and our community. And Auth is also a very good project as a proxy to do everything else. Like if you can do Auth, like all the things I just mentioned, like being able to save a variable, use it in another call, like handling errors, like all of those things I think you're going to use over and over in your app, whether it's for Auth or anything else. So the fact that we can do this now makes us very happy and very proud of the work. So all of that is available now. So go ahead, play with it. Change what, if you had stuff in code before, you can now move it to the no code. Let us know it works. Again, this is with Xano, but try it with Superbase, try it with a bunch of other stuff. We'll be curious to hear. And that's essentially it. Before I go, there's one little sneak peek, and I'm going over about like a couple of minutes, but I want to show you, just tease something that we've been working on. We've made a lot of progress around push notifications. And so I'll show you in a second. Push notification, many ways to go about it. Essentially for Android device, there's the Firebase cloud messaging way to handle notification. On the iOS side, you got your APN, like Apple Push Notification Service. We've been leveraging Expo notifications that kind of makes this whole, or those two different platforms, kind of much easier to work with. And by doing that, you can now enable push notification in your Draftbit app in a pretty straightforward way. It does take a little bit of code. So this is not a completely no-code solution yet, but it's something we're going to be working on over the next few weeks and months. So I just want to show you what it looks like right now. You essentially have a little bit of code that we can share the snippets. Actually, the snippet, if you go to Expo notification, everything is there. So it's not us. Feel free to go and copy some of their code, sorry. And what it does, just I'm going to give you the overview because you don't have to care about the detail of the code, but what it does is within your app is going to expose that code that I'm just showing you is going to request a Expo push token from Expo. That's going to be the way we identify your app. So you want to do that, your user is going to say, yes, I allow notification and stuff like that. Then you want to take that token, save it in your backend. So save it in Xano, save it in Firebase, save it wherever you want. And so that's it on the kind of enabling push notification on the user front. When you want to trigger notification to your users, there are a couple of ways that Expo make that easy for you. They have a UI, you can do it manually, but they also have just a pure post request. So what I've been doing over the last few weeks is just using a post request in my preferred tool, which is Insomnia, but it's a post, and I wish I could show it to you, but anyway, it's gonna make too long. But it's very easy. That all you do is say it's one URL, and you give it the token that you got from your user, and you give it a text and maybe like a badge if you want the little counter on the icon. Some configuration there if you care about it. But that post request is going to go through, and your user is going to get the notification whether they're on Android or iOS, and that's essentially all you need to do. So a real case scenario would be like, your user does something on the app, maybe they like a picture, that goes to your backend. So maybe that goes to a Xano endpoint, for example. And then in Xano, you have a way to call like external API. So maybe you'll go and trigger a notification through that kind of post request to everybody who should see a notification about it. So maybe the author of that picture. I don't know. The use case is up to you, obviously, but so that's essentially the loop. It's pretty easy. It's just that little piece of code. So there's one caveat from you being able to do that right now. If you do copy the code, it will work pretty seamlessly out of the box for iOS. Android require one extra step. You got to go into Firebase, turn on cloud messaging. They give you essentially like a config file. You have to take that config file, put it in your app, and in your app.json can reference that file. That's it. So as of today in Draftbit, because you can always export your code, you can do it today. Export your code, reach out if you need more detail about how to do that kind of cloud messaging step, but like put that config file in there and you're ready to go. Just so you guys know, we are working on a way for us to be able to productize that a little bit, so you can essentially do that more like in Draftbit, so you don't have to export your code and do that by yourself. So that's coming, but I got too excited. I wanted to show you a little bit of what it looks like, and I wanted to. So I've got my phone here. I'm going to show you how should we call it. I've got the app I was just talking about, and I'm going to just try to trigger a little quick notification. I'm going to say, hello, how should I call it, pumpkin? I want to prove that it's real. So what is it, 1:07? Yeah, 1:07 p.m. my time. It might be a little further for you. Okay, so I'm going to send that. Here you go. But even by the time I clicked send, now it is like I got my notification from Draftbit. It's very sweet, that I have an Android device, but yeah, I'm removing the other one so you can see just this one. So it's working well. So a big thank you to the Expo team who's provided that export notification package that allow us to do stuff like this. Okay, and I think I'm done. Firebase integration, new navigation params, GitHub commits, no code auth, which is huge, and a little sneak peek on push notification. 5 released this week. Very excited. And with that, feel free to come. Please come to the community website, say hi, introduce yourself, ask there if you have any questions. And by next week, hopefully, Nick will be back and everything will be with less of a French accent, and Nick will be continue doing an amazing job that he's been doing so far. And I won't be your host, but hopefully I'll still be a guest. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. Bye bye all.